Everybody, can you hear me? We good? Fabulous. So in the next hour and a half, this is Rune's World, which is the title of his forthcoming book. And this is going to be all about Rune, his career, his close-up magic, his parlor, his illusions, talking a lot about what makes this guy tick. You're going to be able to talk to him. He's going to show us stuff. He's going to teach us stuff. A little bit of everything. Sound all right?
Yep.
So, they're all right.
Yeah.
We're going to bring them around. So here's the kind of selfish personal story of how I know Rune. I met Rune when we were both much younger, at least 10 years ago, I think. And he just burst onto the scene with this close-up video at the time, VHS. And what everybody was shocked about was
the hair.
The hair. The hair and the good jokes. Speck of dust.
Mm-hmm.
No, he came on, and it reminded me of what they were talking about earlier. He had invented his own currency, his own language of slights. He wasn't using the standard click pass. He wasn't using the standard retention vanish. So in these original routines he was using, he also had invented his own moves, as if he came from Mars and just plopped onto the scene. It was really technical stuff. He didn't use any gags. Refused to use a gag. He didn't even like to use extra coins most of the time. And he was a pretty straight performer, just straight and narrow, not particularly funny. How then do you compare that to present-day Rune, who, if you know anybody from Denmark or you go to Denmark, they would tell you he is a celebrity. He is a household name. Everybody recognizes him. I thought he was playing a joke on me. I got off the train one time in Copenhagen, and there were people taking pictures and asking for autographs. I thought, this is funny. He got 30 people to play a prank on me, and kept going. So everybody recognized him. He does television. He's done a huge touring show with semis and illusions, and he's done. You just finished a radio thing, right?
Yeah.
You're hosting a radio show. He does theater. He's been asked to host the equivalent of the Oscars and so on. I'm sure this makes him really uncomfortable to talk about. So how do you get from there, from this serious 18-year-old close-up coin magician who doesn't like to use gags, to here, where he's one of the most famous television personalities, one of the most famous variety entertainers in all of Denmark, using gaffes and weird things and dirty humor, and how does it all come together? So that's where we're headed today. So let's start with this, because we talked a little bit about creativity. You've got the weirdest problem that probably not many people in this room have or will ever have, and that is you perform in a country with only 6 million people. So whereas we get to develop magic and then use it our whole lives, a great routine is ours and it's ours forever. We can hone and act like Lance can, in Vegas can hone and act over 20 years. Rune changes his full set. How often?
Once a year.
Every year.
But a full set is like half an hour.
Full set. Okay, well then that's easy. Never mind.
Yeah.
So tell us. You come up with a profound amount of stuff, and take us through what that's like, as opposed to what we work on, which is our ultimate stand-up act for good, for life.
Well, basically, well, it all started with, as Josh said, I was a magician who just did coins and cards and pretty standard stuff. And I think I was 20 years old or so, and maybe 21, and I couldn't really find myself in any of it. And I thought it was weird putting on a suit and doing card tricks and being much older than I was. And I was about to give it all up, and I thought that I'm going to take a proper education, but then so I was about to give it all up, and then I saw stand-up comedy for the first time, and then I fell in love with the honesty of it. The fact that you can be yourself, you can talk your own language, you can wear your own clothes, and you can do your own stuff. And I really fell in love with that. And ever since there, I just been through a lot of, to be completely honest, the first period was not really tricks, it was just stupid stuff.
Yeah, truly, there's been a second progression. Because when he started, I remember him going, oh, you gotta see this, check this out, check out what I'm doing. And it was very much in the vein of like Carl Ballantine or these guys doing a magic act, but it was really magic that didn't work. It was like prop comedy with a magic theme. I would say, 90% of the tricks weren't even really tricks.
Maybe a little bit less.
It was like 90. And then there's been this weird, I think, I don't want to say maturity coming through, but Rune has started to make this amazing transition into doing really powerful magic. And if you think about it, there aren't a lot of comedy magicians who maintain the high quality of magic and don't sacrifice it at the expense of the comedy. I mean, you're now doing some really deceptive stuff and being funny.
Well, my biggest problem, I was talking to Ben with it last night, my biggest problem with magic is the moment you go, you hold a card, and you go, what was your card? The 8 of Hearts. And you go, I got it. That's the worst moment for me. Because I hate being that smart ass going, yeah, I got you, didn't I? I'm better than you. So I always try to do a trick and then sort of tear it apart afterwards. Not necessarily just showing how it's done, but just more like finding a humor way out of it. Because I don't like being in that position of being the guy who knows better, who's better. We're all just nerdy kids. We used our youth playing with cards instead of doing what we should, hitting on women. And so that's what that was and it's still a big problem for me. Really, really hard for me to deliver something that's magical and then sort of staying in that moment. I'm still struggling with that.
Well, tell us, but you've come up with a few techniques that you use over and over. Tell us some of the ways that you can take that burn off of Mr. Hotshot Magician.
What are you thinking of in particular?
I'm thinking of the way you play it down.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm coming off a cold. I do a rope trick. This rope trick is going to be really hard to get to not do anymore in Denmark. But it's basically Tabari's rope thing, and I really love the rope trick, and I'm practicing a lot of it. But the way I found it worked for me was to really go, I'm really sorry, I have to show you this trick, and it sucks. So let's just get this over with, and we can all get over to what we really like to do. Let's just do this, and I just do the entire trick, and I just tear it apart while I'm doing it. God, this sucks. There's another end. Oh, there's 4 end. That's hilarious. This is good if you're a 4. And I just go through it, and I really tear it down. And that sort of was the solution for me, how to do that, how to do a powerful, little ballet with the rope and a symphony of magic. That was the way I could do it and still sort of be myself in it. And when it's done, it ends, of course, with something that is stronger than the rest, and it ends off, and I go, oh, you're just being nice, and just throw that away. Let me do this with the coconut instead, and I smash it in my head. Yeah. I haven't done that, though. But it's good. I'll write that down. Notebook.
There are 2 other ways that come to mind another way of softening this magic. The one we saw, you couldn't really tell from the clip.
Could you read the subtitles?
I don't know if you can read in the back, but what's so great, I know because I described all this stuff intimately, so I know his material pretty well, is that cups and balls, at the finish of the cups and balls, the whole way he sets it up is he does it small. And he goes, you can't see, and then there's an egg at the end, but you can't see the egg, so we're going to do it bigger. So then he does all that comedy stuff. But at the end, when he produces a human guy dressed as a chicken and holds out the egg, he doesn't look at the guy at all. He just grabs the egg and says, see? The egg, you know? So it's almost like he's oblivious to it. And then the other one that comes to mind is the iPod one. Tell him about the iPod.
Oh, that's the next one.
Oh, there's a clip we have of that?
We could maybe just... Is it okay? Is it fine with just to seeing stuff?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
As you know, this is not a lecture. I'm not a lecturer. I'm not good at it. I'm not good at all that. I don't have things to sell either. Well, you maybe... No. Yeah, whatever. So I'm not really good at a lecturer. I'm not. So I don't perform that much for magicians. But I'd love to show you stuff. So can you just play it from where you were?
Yeah.
Oh, there are subtitles, but this basically it was just a billiard ball routine which I've been playing around with because the thing I hated about the billiard ball was that position of over here. I just feel so gay when I do that. So I just came out. Oh, it must be better if you bring it over here like a 3-fly thing, or it's in front of the body. And then I played with the routine, and yeah, that's fine. And just play it from there. And you see the way I solved it.
Jeg har noget til musik, hvor jeg låner hans anlæg, og han siger, vi har ikke noget anlæg. Okay, jeg redder den her. Jeg har taget min Walkman med, for det var den, jeg havde. Kan I huske dem her? De her. Og jeg kan lige prøve at vise jer, hvad jeg lavede til eksamen, okay? Og det ser nogenlunde sådan her ud. Skal jeg bare starte?
Let's back up a second, because in a second I'm going to ask you to show them something. But let's talk about this early period we talked about in the beginning. This time when you're obsessed with coins. You're coming up with not only the tricks, but the moves within the tricks and stuff. What was your fascination with coins, 3 coins, why no gaffs? Tell us about that whole period.
Well, to be completely honest, I started out doing magic with a guy called Karsten, and Karsten was really good with cards, and he was way better than me. So I thought, this cannot be. So I had to find a new field, which he could not be good at. So I just picked up coins. I had Bobo's coin magic, and I studied every single thing from there. And 3 coins just make sense. There's beginning, middle, and end, as opposed to the early days. Well, obviously, attention spans are a lot different today. Remember when Slidini did 12 coins across one at a time? Won't work today. And Goshman's 10-coin Vanish. You ever seen that?
The first 2 are awesome.
The first 2, you could line them up. The first 2 are, wow. The 4th one is like, 6th one is like, and so forth. But good. And, so I got into coins, and I don't really know about the whole gaff thing. Maybe because I didn't have a shell.
But I bought you a shell.
Yeah, I threw it away when you walked away.
Alright, James, you want to help me bring this out? I've asked Rune to do a routine from that sort of era, a close-up thing. I think in the interest of time, we can show you a lot more magic if he doesn't explain these. He'd be happy to explain them afterwards, but...
I'm going to start with one thing. You guys have been used before. Your name is? Andy. Andy, name any card in the world. 9 spades, okay. Good. What's your name here? What's your name there? Yeah. Sorry? Sharon, can you stand up, please? What was the card? 9 spades. Look under your seat. Under your seat. Just pull up the seat out, look it down. Is there a card under the seat? What is it? What is it? It's the 8 of spades. Oh, sit down. Guy next to you. Stand up, please. Look under the seat. Sorry, just, yeah. Should be. Good. Okay. And you're all... Yeah, you go. Okay, how we... this is going to be on the table. Yeah, that's perfect. This is a beer bottle.
We don't know this way.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Just to prove it. Good. Otherwise, they wouldn't believe it. We have a coin. This is a $50, American $50. The reason why I use American coins is because nobody really talks about America anymore. It's like a country we never hear anything about. And we have this. This is a towel of some sort and a beer bottle. Can you all see it? Perfect. Perfect. We'll start off by this. I'll take the coin and I'll melt it through the bottle. It goes through the bottle and it goes underneath the bottle. Okay, so it's here. We can also just put the... Let me just do that again. That was a horrible move. We'll do it. Put it underneath. Snap. It goes... Oh, it goes through the bottle and through the cloth and ends up underneath this. Andy, we'll do this. Put the coin here. Do this. Can you see the coin?
Yeah.
Okay, watch this. Do you think I did anything fishy?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't, actually. Alright, so you can do this, you can go, boop, they change places.
Cool. All right, so now tell us. So you started to do stand-up comedy, and
I'll move over here.
thanks. That's better. So you started to do stand-up comedy. You're still doing magic. To this day, you're tinkering all the time. But tell us now about your career trajectory. Take us through how you go from open mic nights, which I remember you were in a suit and tie, you do 5 minutes, to now where you're hosting your own television show and so on.
If we actually show like the next part of the clip, you can see like the early stages of when I first came out. Just fast forward a little bit. No, the washing machine's on there? Oh, let me see that too. That's stupid. Yeah, let's just show that because that's really one of my favorite inventions ever, and it's the most.
Kan I se, hvor sjovt? Prøv at se her. Kan I lige prøve det her? Jeg skal lige stå sådan der. Okay, prøv at se her. Den her skulle gerne passe sådan nogenlunde lige nedover. Ja, det gjorde den næsten også, ikke? Sådan der. Prøv at se her. Her har vi et sjældent dyr fra Papua Ny Guinea. Nu er du fin, hva'? Ja, det var godt. Vil du ned i den der? Jo. Okay. Nu vil det sjældne dyr fra Papua Ny Guinea og vaskemaskinen bytte plads. Sådan der. Nu er det sket. Jeg ved godt, det ser lidt mærkeligt ud, men okay. Jamen, der er bare sket noget rigtig underligt, fordi det her er blevet til sådan en robotdyr, ikke også? Nå, det er fordi materialerne byttede plads. Det er blevet til robotdyr, og det her er blevet til sådan en hamstervaskemaskine, ikke også?
Back to the coin. No, I do. If it's all right, can you do something else for us for close-up wise?
What did you have in mind for that? Let's just
The
do
thingy?
The thingy?
Yeah.
Oh, the thingy.
The thingy with the thingy.
Okay. What can you do in here? Just go back. That's perfect. Just do that. Sorry. Tom Crosby. Examine them all up. They're still American. Need to talk more about America. Yeah, here we go. There are 3 of them. Okay, 3 of them. We can take one. We can place it right there. We got 2 left. Okay. We can take the second one. Place it there. That's 1. That's 2. We have the last one here. You can do this. You can get it back. You don't have to. And then there's one over there. And there's one over there.
One more?
I'm just setting up in front of you, if that's alright. Is this right? Is it right? No, I don't. I'm okay. Yeah, this is right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, perfect. We'll start off like this. I'll take something from there. Don't really know what that is. I'll break it in 2 and you get a coin. Actually, you get 2 coins. Sorry. And then I'll do that again. We got 2 coins here. And I'll take 1 out. That one can vanish. And the other one's over there. So we're back to, nope, we're not. Okay, it's over there. So now we're back to where, nope, we're not. There it is. Okay, we're ready to go. So we got 2. Let me see if I can do this for you. Look at the screen here. 2.
All right, so
It's a bit different
it is different. It looks very pretty.
from that.
Yeah. Well, but that's what I find so odd, is that when it comes to close-up magic, you are a purist. You are pretty much bare bones. I don't think we see much presentation in the way of this coin will represent Papa Bear and this coin will represent a Chinese bear. And,
Notebook.
And then you go on stage and it's the exact opposite. First of all, it's all personality, very minimal on the magic. And secondly, everything's gaffed to the hilt.
Mm.
But regardless of the two, there's one through line, and that's what I want to talk about next, because it bridges what we were all talking about earlier, and that's creativity. And specifically, tell us about your brain trust, because you've got this unique situation of people that you collaborate with.
Yeah. Well, a lot of good things were said today about creativity, and one of the things was that toying with your friends. I have several friends. I always run every idea across. I also keep things in notebooks. Although I buy notebooks and I throw them away, so there's a box at home where I have like a napkin and a bus ticket with things written on. And yeah, I try out a lot. There's a lot of I just go into open mic nights and just try stuff out. And like Danny talked about too, I fail a lot. But actually, as odd as it sounds, I really like failing. I really.
Tell us about like what's an epic failure? What's something you thought would be so great?
You guys know Torah Magic? Iranian place?
You got this catalog from
Hilarious. They have this, I think they have a guy in Iran who writes the whole thing in, and they have a program that just converts it to English. The sentences are hilarious. But unfortunately, I think they hired a guy who actually knows English now, so that's too bad. Oh, but you can buy these flower pots that can appear out of a bag, and they're huge. And I had an idea that there was a microphone stand here, and I walked on stage, and I had 4 of these ready to pop out, and they're this big. And I had 4 appearing canes in my hand, and I don't know what this is, but it's like a cylinder, and it's this tall, and it's made of cloth, but there's a spring in it, so you can fold up to just like just a spring. And when you let go, it does that. So I'm carrying this around me, and 4 flower bags here, and appearing canes here. And the idea is that everything goes wrong on the way to the microphone stand. So I go over here, and go, and I go over here, and I'm standing in a tube. Nothing. Not a laugh, not a chuckle, nothing. And that's kind of hard standing in a tube and not getting a laugh. Anybody try that? No? So I try a lot of stuff like that. I'm obsessed with openers. I think openers are the funniest thing to do.
Tell them about some of the other openers you do.
Do we have the clip of the... No, that thing?
Oh, the...
Do you mind finding it if I talk about another opener? What? No. It's on another clip.
But tell us about like the dog opener.
Oh yeah. Do you know those dog collars that you give a dog so they don't scratch their whatever? I walk out with this on my neck like this, and I go over the micro stand. The first thing I say is, "God, does my balls itch?" Actually went pretty well. But I always find that openers are so fun to do.
Let me ask you something, because I asked you this in the book, and I was pretty surprised by what you said. You obviously really off color most of the time.
I don't feel off color.
But what my question to you was, and will be, do people get offended at your show? Does that weigh on your conscience? I mean, how does that work? Tell us about that.
To be completely honest, the only time I ever offended anybody was in the States. It was a lecture.
Oh,
Well, I don't know if I don't think that the British crowd either gets offended that much, do you? Because you have some of the best comedians in the world here, and they are very off color. Some of them, or at least they can do whatever. And no, I don't. But I don't think I really have that personality that offends that much, because it's always the joke's always on me. I'm always the idiot. And that's not really deliberate. I don't think that way through. I don't go, I gotta put myself down so I can do this. It just happens to be what I think is the most funny part. Are we ready for that?
So just tell them about it. Tell them about
it. I walk out with there's like a long pole and a huge cloth. And it covers me plus much more. And I walk over to the microphone stand, and with my foot I go, "What's your name?" And the guy goes, "Whatever, Carson." And I go, "Name any fruit or vegetable in the world." And he goes, "Cucumber." And I drop it, and I have a huge tomato costume on. I go, "Oh shit, that was so close." And I think it's so funny to do way too much, and then it fails. You know those spider screens you go on, they're huge. I had this one made up with the 7 of hearts, and it's the wrong card. I think that's so funny that something that big and that expensive is wrong. So I really fall in love with that, the openers. I also did an opener where I had a so obvious, a football, basketball underneath my t-shirt. And it's completely obvious because it's all the way over here. And I walk up and I go, "So I'd like to start with a miracle." I'm really cocky. Like, "I'd like to start with a miracle. I'd like to produce a football." And everybody just goes, "You idiot." And I just play it up, but people go, "Where is that ball coming from?" "We don't know. Here, examine my hands." And they're all thinking I'm an idiot. And eventually I produce a basketball instead of a football. I go, I was so close. I should have. Oh.
Well,
Yeah,
it's interesting because in working on this book with you, I got to get some great insight into your way of thinking. And he divides bits or gags up structurally into a few ways. And I remember specifically this basketball one. What he liked about it was that what's going on here?
Oh, just go ahead. I was preparing for something.
Okay. What he liked about it was, a lot of gags are not funny until the punchline. So you do all this setup and then you get a laugh here. But what he liked about this was you walk out and immediately it's funny because it's visually arresting. You're walking out with a ball under your shirt. Then, by playing it up and say, examine my hands, it's goofy the whole way, so you're getting laughs the whole way. And then when the surprise basketball comes out, again, it's funny.
Well, often the punchline is actually not as funny as the rest. I'm actually scared of punchlines because punchlines, you devote everything to one line, and if that doesn't hit, you're screwed. So I'd much rather try to put myself in a funny situation, and then hopefully I can get out of it some way. Because if it's just like one punchline, and you put all your faith in that, if that goes wrong, you're really screwed. I want to show you one thing. This is the Vanishing pizza. This pizza will vanish right in front of your eyes. I use this cloth here. And some of you might see a little thing, and some of you will go, I have no clue. So here we go. Just put this here, like so. And obviously I can't palm this because it's too big, and I can't eat it because it's made of plastic, otherwise I could. Ready? 1, 2, 3, vanished. Good. Let me just show you one more thing. Here. Some of you might even own this prop. Andy, point to a sock. That one over here? Good choice. It's a pool cue in it. Isn't that cool? What? I'm also obsessed with socks. And we talk about shoes today with creativity. It's funny because I'm obsessed with shoes. The way I usually try to come up with tricks is you talked a lot about either method or premise. I just fall in love with the prop or a question. And I did this for a while. I go out and go after I've been doing a trick or two, and I go, oh, so what's your name over here? Oh, John, what do you do? Well, how old are you? Oh, you're 28. What do you do for a living? Oh, really? Can I borrow your shoe? I just think that's a great question. And I get his shoe up, and I did a trick with that, which was actually quite funny. You might hate it. I have some cards examined, and I put them in a box. The box is also like a cascade box. And I put the box in the shoe, and I hold it up, and the cards just squirt up, and I pluck one card out of it. What was the card? I didn't pick a card. Oh, I forgot that shit.
No, tell us a little bit now about some of the cooler opportunities that have come out of your success and some of your fame. Like, for example, the play that you guys did.
I've done 2 plays. It's really cool because there was these 2 theaters in Denmark. Really big ones in Copenhagen, and they wanted to try something different. So they put me with a comedian and 2 musicians, and the first assignment was to rewrite a famous Norwegian play called Peer Gynt. Maybe some of you have heard of it. And we wrote it with magic and comedy and music, and it was really interesting to do. I learned so much of working with people with education, and. And the second thing we did the Bible. First part, Old Testament. Second part, New Testament. And that was really, really cool. Reading the Bible and sort of figuring out how to make magic into it and how to make comedy into it and still telling the story and still being true to the story. Not that I'm religious in any way, but it was really interesting. So that was really 2 really...
You were doing things like turning water into wine or producing a dove,
I produced a dove. I've never produced a dove before. So that was interesting.
You produced a mostly dead fish. It was okay. Similar. So
yeah, and but other than that, really interesting assignments has really been this TV show. I gotta tell you, man, doing magic on TV is one of the hardest things I've ever done. It is so hard. Everything we put our trust in, like, we can go anywhere and just go, hey, I got a top change, I can do anything. Top change plays everywhere. But no, it doesn't, not on TV. It just gets ruined. Yeah.
What I want to do now is open it up if there are some questions or, I mean, we've just been all over the map. We started to talk a little bit about comedy theory and Rune's background and magic on television. And I don't know which direction you guys want to go in, but this is your event, so is it cool to open this up? Do you get somebody in the back? Yeah.
Do you like it when the lay people actually think that you're failing?
Yeah.
Then when you...
Well, it's the old Williamson problem, right? The Superman thing of being Superman and then being torn apart afterwards. I love that. I guess part of me, the fact when you shoot the wrong card out and you go, oh, this wasn't it, top change, wait, and go click it on a glass, and you just go right after everybody. That feeling is obviously great, well, the first couple of years I performed, and people, sorry, just spat on the table, sorry. A lot of people just saw me and said, oh, you're just mocking magic, you don't really do anything, and I was really sad by that because I didn't feel I did that. So I really took that serious, and I still think I failed, but now I think they know. Oh, it's deliberate because he's going to twist it later on or something like that.
So are you kind of saying? I know it's an English version, where you're kind of like from us would say like a lot of people actually think Tommy Cooper was a terrible magician.
He was, wasn't he?
But in theory, he wasn't.
What?
In some ways he wasn't, but he was.
Oh, of course not. He was an entertaining genius, but yeah.
Does that give you an inspiration?
Well, he's definitely a role model. I mean, he definitely is. I've really studied a lot of his work. His expressions are amazing when he does stuff. It's hard to answer that question straight because there are some of the things that you really want to fail because, but it's so obvious to the people when you go, you could name any card in the world, and here's this card from the ceiling all along. That's the 8 of hearts, and that's your card. What's in my ass? And then you just take it some different way. I actually did that, pulled the snake out of my ass to turn it away. Yeah.
Let's get another question. Yes, Ray.
All right. Is it okay to ask what actually happened in America that offended anybody?
Sure.
It was in his. It was in your town, right?
What?
No, it was in your town.
Is it
I dropped the coin and I accidentally said the F word, and 2 guys walked up and I said, oh, that was not. And then later on, I got some of them to like me again, and then there was this guy in the front row. He looked exactly like David Roth. I go, you're here! And he goes, I didn't pay to get offended. And then he walked away.
But he did. He looked like David Roth.
Yeah.
Something else?
But just to not that the American public is so much easier offended. There's just different venues for different things. It's such a large country, and you have some of the most hardcore comics in the world there. But they just gotta find their venue. I can imagine a guy like Amazing Jonathan didn't just go straight to his career. He must have had some pretty large bumps on the way. I don't know. I'm just guessing because he's a pretty aggressive, offensive guy. I don't know. I'm guessing.
Any other questions? Yeah? In the back?
How did you find being a magician on the stand-up circuit? What were the other stand-ups like? Were they welcoming? Were they hostile?
They were really welcoming. Oh, there was this debate forum on the internet, and when they first heard that there was a magician coming, they went, "Oh, we're getting a magician. What are we now going to be a non-smoking club?" And they are they. And but no, because there's been several magicians trying out in Denmark, and not to say that both are anyway or be to say I'm good or anything, but they didn't make it that well. I just think I just approached it differently. To be completely honest, the first time I ever walked on a comedy stage, I was of course scared shitless. And I walked out. I was doing pre-stand stuff with a rope and an extra piece on top, and I walked out. I think I was going to do like a ring on rope Williamson thing. And within the first 10 or 15 seconds, I don't know why, I dropped the extra piece. And in that moment, I realized everything of how I want to be. Because I just look at it and go, that's not supposed to happen. That's actually was supposed to be like 5 minutes of killer stuff. This is not good. And I was just completely honest. I was so honest. At a point where it was supposed to go here and you shouldn't see it so I could do this. And they just laughed and laughed because I was so honest about it. And it was just like an epiphany. I just went, okay, I just got to be myself. I just don't have to pretend I'm doing miracles. because I can't pull that off. But they took it pretty well.
Do you still do open mic? And if you do open mic, do you have like kind of a mission in mind when you go?
A mission?
Well, I mean, do you have like a goal in mind when you do open mic?
Well, the goal is just to try out new stuff.
Yeah.
Danny talked about how he tries out new stuff, of sneaking the new stuff in.
Uh-huh.
I really, really, really like the fact of just walking up with like 15 minutes of never tried before. I love that because I'm so scared. I heard this story. I don't know if you think this is interesting or not. You know the guitarist Frank Zappa? There was one point where he in some magazine he said, "I'm the best guitarist there is on the planet. I play some of the most complicated things you can ever do." And this 18-year-old kid somewhere in the country writes him back, going, "That's not complicated. This is complicated." Frank Zappa goes, "That's amazing." Hires him on up and takes him on a tour. And every month, this kid goes into the studio alone, puts his guitar directly into the speaker, turns up everything so loud and so horrible, and he plays as long as he can because it's such a horrible sound. But he says, "How long can I stand this?" Just to remind him what is a bad sound and how bad he was once. I think that's a great story. I don't know if it's true, but it's a great story. And it's not the complete same with me, but I really like going up with stuff that's so dodgy and it's like a half idea. Because I'm becoming pretty confident that I'll get out of it some way. I'll figure out some way to get a laugh or get an effect and then yeah. But I throw out a lot of stuff. I probably tried a lot of your tricks on stage and failed. Thanks for that.
There's one over here.
Yeah.
You want to try your trick too? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just interested in the tradition of TV magic in Denmark because
The tradition.
we haven't had. Is there one? Because we haven't had one in the UK for 20 years.
There was this great couple called Tosa and Dixie, and they did this. There was like the 50s. It was great because this guy and there was a woman on stage and she was blindfolded, and they did the code thing. What do I have in my hand? And he was horrible at, "What do I have in my hand? Come try, say, please do now." And the woman, it was almost spelling it. "I have here bear entering," like spelling beer. It was great, but that was the tradition. And he was really hard on us. It was so funny. He was so hard to his wife, and they split up, and it was a big thing. It was hilarious. And it was just a clip where this going, "It's the wrong thing!" And she goes, "It's not!" And he puts it back. Hilarious. So no, there's not a tradition for it,
So
really.
you were the first person to do it after a long break.
There actually is a pretty good Danish community of really good magicians. First of all, a guy called Joachim Solberg, some of you might know. He's been a regular TV guy for some time.
All right. Last question, and we're going to do something else. Yeah.
Do you do any just traditional spoken stand-up comedy, or is all of your stuff prop-based?
Well, all my stuff is magic-based, actually.
Magic.
Well, that's not true. Like, the dog collar is always just a prop gag. But, oh, by the way, with the dog collar on, I tried to drink a beer this way, and it spills on this way. No, not that much. I've done some it's like hosting things where I had to do it, but I feel so naked, like not having. I find myself just standing on stage with their cards, just talking, never using it, just going, yeah, so yeah, and just putting it away, and then picking up the prop. I feel naked without anything in my hand.